Hello. So in this video tutorial, whatever, I will be showing you the basics of Cisco artwork Blender creation, where I will be creating this very basic image. However, I will be going through every step of the way and simplifying it so it is very beginner friendly, as I have found that there aren't many video or text tutorials that are assuming that you just downloaded Blender. This video is made for completely beginners. If you are even amateur in Blender, we have a text guide that will be linked below. I recommend you just read that. It is more complex and better fit for people who already have at least minor Blender experience. Otherwise, you should watch the video. Yes. Hello. So your first step is obtaining your inspect link. Personally, I prefer just getting it off flow.dp. Just look for whatever skin you'd like. If it has stickers and you don't want to have stickers on the skin, it doesn't matter. You can remove them in Blender. In this case, I'm gonna be using an AK Wild Lotus. You can also get it through Steam or Twitter or whatever the fuck. Just get an inspect link some way. Your second step is obtaining models and textures. Now, there are multiple ways to go through on this. The most beginner friendly is karambi.gg. All the links. Hello, this is Ocho from Future. I'd like to mention we have a tutorial on how to add and use UMod on our channel. It's basically the same as karambi.gg, except it works when you're offline. It gives you way higher resolution textures, and karambi.gg is usually down. So I highly recommend you install UMod the moment you can, and if you need help on doing that, go watch the tutorial. Okay, back to the video. All the links will be provided below. Go to the website and then you will see this page. Just paste in your inspect link, get files, and after a few seconds you should be provided with this. Here you can get the object file, which is the model. You can get the texture, which is the skin in and of itself, and it also has stickers. You will also be provided with all the textures on the stickers themselves. These are the first few steps in creating the scene. Now, if you have stickers, it's gonna open a few more tabs. Just press right click, save image as, and just save the image. Now, the third and fourth steps are optional. You can skip these if you don't feel like doing these. If you're getting your textures through karambi.gg, they're gonna be fairly low resolution. They're not gonna be pixelated or something, but they're not perfect. After a few seconds, you should be provided with an upscale texture. This makes a really big difference. You can upscale it 2x, 4x, it doesn't matter. The fourth and final step, which in my opinion is very, very important, is obtaining a normal map. Insert your texture and you're gonna get this normal map. I'm gonna explain more about it later in the tutorial. Now, open Blender. You have two choices. You can either install it via Steam, which is my preferred way, it tracks your time, or you can install it from the official website. It will be linked below in the description. All my keystrokes will be displayed down below. As a start, I would delete the cube by pressing delete. If you do not have a delete key, for example you have a 60%, press X and it will delete. Now, Shift plus A, then hover over plane and press it. To enlarge the plane, press S once and then drag your mouse and it will enlarge it. This is gonna be our background of the render. To get the weapon of choice, which is an AK in this case, go to File, Import, Wavefront, emphasis .opj, and then go to your downloads or wherever, and then press your model, which in this case is AK47.obj. Second or two will pass and then it will be imported. If you have a particularly slow PC, this will take a bit. Now, if I go to camera view by pressing this, you can see the AK is way too big. Press S to make it smaller. Now, to leave the camera view, by the way, you can either press this or press middle click. So, Now the AK is clipping the floor. We do not want that. Instead, to rotate the AK, press R on your keyboard to rotate it. But it shouldn't be rotated on this axis, it's gonna be still clipping. So instead, press R and then whatever axis you want to rotate it on. So in this case, it would be the Y axis. Then you can write in the number of degrees you want to rotate the model in. So let's say I want to rotate the AK 90 degrees. I would press R, Y, and then 90. In this case it will be flipped, so I do RY minus 90. Now I'm gonna select the plane and then lower it until it is no longer clipping. Now select your camera and rotate it the same way. R until you find an angle you're happy with. If you want to be very precise and perfect about it, you can go here on your top right and then press item and then transform, and you can rotate it to very specific degrees. Let's say you need to render something at a 90-degree angle. This is how you do it. To change the textures, up here on your top area, you're gonna have a lot of tabs. Go to the shading tab. This is where you're gonna be spending most of your time. We're gonna go back into the camera view. I prefer saying the camera view as I find it easier to see. You can see things are now white. Previously we were in the solid rendered view, which is also called the workbench. Now we're gonna be in the material preview. Press Z on your keyboard and then press the version you want to select. In this case, material preview. Now here at the bottom, again, you move your stuff around by holding middle click, left click, select stuff. You need to start getting used to this. Hover your mouse above this, Shift plus A, and then press search and add image texture. Okay. Connect the color point by holding this yellow thing to the base color, and then press open and add in your main texture. Okay, make sure you use the upscaled one if you upscaled the texture. Now we have the texture. After adding in the texture, if you did get a normal map, take your normal map, add it in. Okay, then look at this color space, press the sRGB and change it to non-color. Now press Shift plus A, type in normal map, and connect the color to the color, and then the normal to the normal. We adjust to our liking. As you can see, the normal maps give a bumpy effect to the texture. If I give it a 0, it's gonna be completely smooth and painted. On maximum level, it's very rough. Personally, I don't like it on maximum. I recommend going in the below 1. Now let's go back to the layout. Press Z again and go to rendered view, and then now you're gonna be in the rendered preview. This is Eevee. If you'd like to render in cycles, which is basically ray tracing, you're gonna go here, render engine, and then press cycles, and then device GPU compute if you have a GPU, and then press rendered, and it's gonna take a few seconds, and now we have ray tracing basically. So we have a scene, we have the weapon, we have the textures, we have everything, but the scene is extremely ugly. So for example, I want the background to be more reflective. I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna press the material properties, which is the circle with the 4 sections, then lower the specular and up the metallic. That's gonna make it have a more metally texture, and then lower the roughness to make it shinier. If I want to make it less shinier, I'm gonna up the roughness. Let's say I don't like it being completely white, I'm gonna change the color to be black, maybe up the metallic a little bit. Here we have the background, that's the first thing. Now the lights. Hello, this is Ojo from the future. In the video I ended up just ranting about lightning for a good 10 minutes. It's not that interesting of a topic and not very important in this guide. I'm just gonna skip over that part. I linked a very good lighting video in the description. I recommend you just watch that. It's still very much beginner friendly and it explains it way more in depth than me in more than half the time. Okay, bye bye. Now that the lights are set up, you might have noticed a few things. The weapon itself is still very not shiny. If you prefer having a shinier look, I'd recommend lowering the roughness and lowering the specular a bit, and then upping the metallic metallic a lot. This will give it a very metally look. This is again an objective matter. Some people like it being completely metal. Some people like it being like this, where it's very not shiny. Me personally, I like a very middle ground. I find it depends on per sticker to per weapon to weapon basis. Also, the shinier the weapon, the more aggressive the normal map is gonna be. So I recommend lowering it a little bit. Now, another thing you probably have noticed, the stickers are currently broken. They are missing. You can set up holo stickers yourself. There is a couple of methods. I'm gonna be making a video on that later. However, I most recommend just downloading the CSDIN add-on and then adding it yourself. The CSDIN add-on is currently a bit buggy. You can also just download the files. Now, I select the sticker and then I press spawn holo sticker. As you can tell, the sticker is currently a Dignitas holo. It should be a Vox holo if you are paying attention. So what you need to do is you need to select sticker Dignitas, which is basically just a paper sticker. Then you need to get your Vox paper texture and add it. And then what is called the Vox holo mask texture. Then change the color space to either linear or to non-color. They have very similar results. Me personally, I don't really care. Now, as you can tell, the sticker looks very nice. It looks very similar to the in-game. However, it is, maybe you don't want it to be like this below. Maybe you want it to be orange. So you go to this thing, it's called a node, and then on your rotation setting you can increase it to adjust the color. So in this case I would want it to be let's say purple, like this. Maybe I want to adjust it a bit more specifically. You can go to this node that says add, and then you can also change it here. So here, let's say this orange I am happy with. Now I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna select all of them by pressing A, then Ctrl C, which copies them, and then on this one I'm gonna Ctrl V, and we have the same sticker. Now the stat rack, also same thing, you just need to add the texture. The AK Wild Lotus isn't stat rack, so I'm gonna delete that. You have now basically completed your scene. However, sometimes you want to do a couple of final touches. Here are the things I recommend. You can skip this step. First of all, changing your anti-seropic settings. It gives it a more uneven and natural look. Just messing around with these settings in general. Then here at the camera thing, denoising. This will prevent essentially blurring and this weird pixelated look. I recommend enabling it. And if you have an RTX Nvidia card, press optics. If you have any over GPU, just use open image in denoise. Lower your noise threshold. This thing, the lower it is, the less blurry the image is gonna be. If you'd like to zoom in with your camera, select the camera and then go to the camera symbol and then your focal length, heighten it, it's gonna zoom in. The more you lower it, it's gonna zoom out. If you'd like to change your resolution, press this little printer icon and then here you can change your resolution. If you'd like to change the dynamics of the image before editing it in Photoshop or whatever, you can also do it here in your little camera symbol thing on your top. You have all of these. You can do high contrast mode, which looks good on a lot of scenes. Mess around with these settings. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go to your top left, press render, and then render image. You can also just press F12 on your keyboard. This is gonna take a couple of minutes. This is a fairly simple scene. Okay, so now that the image has stopped rendering, go to your top left, press image, and then save as, and then write in whatever file name you'd like tutorial Ocher, please subscribe. Save as image. So that's the entire tutorial basically. Those are all of the starting steps you should know before entering the CSGO Blender artworking world. But before the video ends, I would like to mention that this YouTube channel has a Discord server where you can give us suggestions and ask for help, post your art, and generally is meant to serve a purpose for the community. This channel is owned both by me, Ojo, and Defisnumb. We put a lot of effort and time into creating these videos, and the Discord really helps us get the support needed to continue creating these videos, so we would really appreciate if you joined.